Hi friends, welcome to GT Coding. In this video we are going to look at loops in JavaScript. So here I have an HTML page and I have linked my app.js file over here. So let's go to our JS, and here suppose you wanted to type console.log and you wanted to type hello YouTube 10 times. So what you'd basically do is copy this over 10 times, and if I save this, we get hello YouTube 10 times. So this is not an efficient way to program, and it can be easy for you to copy this 10 times, but suppose we wanted to print this same message 10,000 times. What would you do? You can't copy it 10,000 times, and it will be a very bad programming style. So what you can do is use something called loop. So the first loop I'm going to talk to you about is called for loop. So for that you have to type, I'll just type it now and I will explain what it does after executing. So let I equals 0, I is less than 10, I plus plus, and console.log hello YouTube. And if I will save this, we get the same result. We have hello YouTube printed 10 times. It is not showing all these things because it is the same message and it just folded it into one line, but we basically have this hello YouTube printed 10 times. So let me just explain what is going on over here. So in our for loop we have this first section of code where we initialize the variable. So we are setting a variable called I and setting it to 0. So this happens only one time in this loop. The first time this loop runs, this section of code runs, and for the next iterations of this loop, these two sections of code runs, and this is the condition. So here we see that we are checking whether I is less than 10. So while I is less than 10, we have to execute this line of code. So the last section over here is where we increase or decrease the value of I. So if you don't have this over here, this loop will run forever. So it will always be 0 and this condition will never be satisfied. So we have to put this over here. So I plus plus means we are just adding 1 to I. So we go from 0 to 9 in this loop. So we get this hello YouTube printed 10 times. I'll just show you what the values of I are. So I'll just type I, and here I will just, so this is called string concatenation. We can combine variables with strings. So now if I save this, we can see we have this result. So for the first line of code we get I to be 0, and then we increase I by 1, and then we check whether I is less than 10, and we see that 1 is less than 10, and we execute this line of code. So at the last iteration of our loop, our I equals 10, and we don't have this condition to be true because I should be less than 10. It should not be equal or greater than 10. So at that time we break out of this loop, and that's how this loop is executed. So the best thing is that you can change this and add a variable in place of that. So I'll just create a variable called n, and we will set it to 30, and if I will set this to n and execute this line of code, we can see we get I starting from 0 to 29. So if you want to print I from 1, we'll just type I plus 1 over here, and we can see I goes from 1 to 30. Now the next loop is called while loop, and while n is greater than 0, I will type hello YouTube, and we'll decrease n. So in our while loop you have to do this inside our curly braces over here. So in for loop we have the initialization, the condition checking, and the increment or decrement, everything in one line of code. So in while you have to do it this way. So if I press save, we can see hello YouTube is printed 30 times. So if we have n to be 0, and if I press Ctrl S, we can see that we get nothing because n is 0 and we are checking whether n is greater than 0, so this line of code will never execute. So if you want to execute this line of code at least one time, you have another loop called do while. So I'll just type do, and here I will type console.log and say hello YouTube and decrement n. So here I will type while n is greater than 0. So if I will press save, we can see we get hello YouTube printed one time, because using do while loop this line of code is executed at least once. So if you have this kind of situation in your program, you can use this do while loop. So this is pretty much the basic loops in JavaScript. So I hope that you have understood how to use loops in JavaScript. If you like this video, please click on the like button and subscribe to this channel to get the latest updates. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day.